Here with Washington State women's basketball head coach Kamie Ethridge. Coach, your team is going to its third straight NCAA tournament as your team earned an at-large bid with, an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament by winning the Pac-12 championship a week and a half ago in Las Vegas. What were your thoughts with the initial seed? You got a 5 seed in the Greenville Regional 2 region, playing a really talented number 12 seed Florida Gulf Coast. First, what did you think of the seed of getting a number 5, and then what did you think? What do you think about the Eagles so far?
Yeah, I mean, excited about our seed. Excited. I don't know if there's ever a seed that you go, oh yeah, we got it made. I mean, I think it's a statement to our program. It's a statement to how we finish the season. Obviously, winning 4 games in 5 days at the Pac-12 tournament carried a lot of weight, I think, in the committee's eyes. Playing good basketball. Clearly, they dive into big time details of, who are the ones that should be 5s and 6s and 7s and all of that. So, I think we earned a good seed. We earned the right to be there, and that's about it. We've earned that right. We play a 12 seed in Florida Gulf Coast, and they are always underseeded. I think anyone that knows women's basketball knows what a job that Carl does there. And, his win percentage is about, I think, 85%. He wins 30 games every year. This is a tradition-rich program that is about winning. So a really difficult matchup for us, but you just have to expect it. In the NCAA tournament, it's not like anyone's got an easy way, and we certainly don't. We really respect the team that we're about to face.
If you have any questions for Coach Ethridge, please raise your hand in the Zoom and we'll get to you. Coach, how is your team preparing for a cross-country trip to Philadelphia? I know the team has traveled well this season, 9 wins on the road in true road games. I believe you've got 5 wins in neutral site games, so 14 wins overall in games away from Beasley Coliseum, which is a program record. So you guys have the credentials. You've been battle tested. So how are you all preparing for this cross-country road trip to Philadelphia?
Haven't really talked about too much of just specifics of the road trip. I mean, obviously, traveling 3 time zones is difficult. We are leaving early, so I think that's a good thing for us. We're in spring break, so we can hope that we won't have a lot of stress on academics and missing class and things like that. So there's some things about our routine I think can, makes it a little easier of a trip. But what we're going to do is count on our players to stay true to who they've been all year. And that's a real seasoned team that has handled distractions in the road and anything that might come up that's out of the ordinary and out of our routine, and we handle that well, and we prepare well, and we walk on the court and we compete as good as we possibly can. I'm going to count on that. That's what we've been doing, and obviously feel good about our preparation, even though I don't think we can mimic and play like Florida Gulf Coast. We can't get our practice guys to do that, but as much as we can possibly prepare for a really good team, we're doing that right now, and we want to be ready to play on Saturday.
Colton Clark, Spokesman Review. Go ahead, Colton.
So right back to business after the selection show. Could you tell us about the scout and how Florida Gulf Coast, how do they play? Kind of how have they found their success this year, and how does it appear that you match up so far?
Yeah, I think they're on like a 13 or 14 game win streak. It's been a long time since they've even lost a game. They dribble drive you to death. So they love the 3, and all 5 players can shoot it, and they score at the rim. So they're a little bit similar to Utah. They don't run exactly the same stuff that Utah runs, but just the makeup of a team that just pretty much everybody can shoot it and everybody can drive it. They're undersized. They're smaller than most of the Pac-12 schools. I don't think anyone's really over 6 foot. But it really puts your bigs in a bind because you got to guard them on the perimeter, and you got to handle penetrating, players that are coming at you without fouling. And at the same time, you would think that we could have an advantage with our size if we can get to it. It's just that's where the matchup is interesting. Can we get to our advantage, or are we going to be, stuck in their advantage? So it's a little bit of a wait and see who can kind of come up with the best game plan and execute it. But both teams are who they are at this point, and who Florida Gulf Coast is they're just really good at getting to the foul line and making 13 or 14 threes, again similar to Utah, and then they score at the rim really well. So we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to defend that really well.
When are you leaving? And is it difficult or a bit frustrating having to go across the country again and adjust to the time zone differences?
Well, I think at this point you don't look at anything as a negative. I mean, we're just excited to go. We just found out we're leaving tomorrow at 10 a.m. So it's a little bit of a short notice. We were just worried about, probably would have preferred to have gone on Thursday and get another day here practicing, but we just didn't want to be too big. We wanted to make sure we got there and at a reasonable time. I just didn't want to get into on Thursday, Philadelphia really late. So the way it looks right now, it feels like we might get in by 6 p.m. So imagine that you leave at 10 and you might not get there till 6. So it is a long way. It is a stretch to make our team, adjust to the time zone. But again, they're young. They can sleep on planes. They sleep anywhere. And again, this is the most exciting time, I think, of our year. So we're going to make the most of it.
And lots of tournament experience, NCAA tournament experience on your roster, of course. How exactly does that kind of experience help you out on the stage? Is it mostly a comfort thing, controlling nerves?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing I would say is it seems to have resulted into that this entire year. We're a little bit seasoned. We won more games this year. We played without Charlize and still competed well. I think that's an indication of we've kind of grown up. Probably a little too early for us to really succeed in the NCAA tournament 2 years ago. It was too new. We were too young. And last year we weren't quite built good enough and didn't quite have the depth. And it just feels like we have a little bit more stability. We are playing at a high level. Again, our defense is better than it's been in the past. Our rebounding is better. Those are things that I think translate into success in the NCAA tournament. So I hope that experience, that having been there, that leadership from the upper class can comfort the younger players, and certainly have our focus and mind right to put ourselves in a great position to compete well and win the game on Saturday.
I'm wanting to write something specific about Bella, and I know we've talked about her before, but could you just kind of walk me through her year-to-year development, and what did it take, sort of the work mentally and physically, for her to polish her game and kind of become the star she is now?
Well, Bella's always been, the most talented player in the gym. It's just her work ethic wasn't as high as her talent level or her potential. And so her first 3 years were really just a battle between the coaches and Bella a little bit on her consistency coming into the gym and working at a level that was required to really gain control of her game. We saw glimpses of greatness from her. And I think the best thing I could do, just the point where things changed. I can tell you this. It was a year ago after we lost. Postseason weights, Bella was still, the old Bella, and Zach we call it Bella proof, the weight room. And what that meant was that he changed how he did weights, and he made the whole group do it together on account of, be at your station at this point and on the whistle go. And so, and that was really just to keep control of Bella, because Bella might skip a she'd go get a drink, and by the time she got back, she missed a rep, or she missed an entire set, and it was just constantly, Bella was kind of in and out of doing what she was supposed to be when she was supposed to be. That was kind of the level of Bella off and on. Some days great, some days not, until last year in April. And Bella became responsible for Bella in April a year ago. And she became accountable to doing it up the level. She sought out weight workouts and did every rep. She did extra cardio of the level that was necessary. She could do workouts that we would provide for her on her own. That was the level it needed to be without anyone in the gym with her. Those are things that she really wasn't ready for the first 3 years. It made all the difference in the world. Her work ethic, her conditioning, her strength, her competitiveness, I want to be great, and I am responsible for my behaviors to put in the work to be great. And what you see is many, many more glimpses of what she's capable of, and just the pattern of consistency in her play and in her performance and in her, day-to-day growth. It's been a steady rise since last April. And honestly, because of that, I just think, she's even going to be better. Every single time she steps in the gym, she's better, and she has a chance to get better because her work ethic is now to the level of, how good she wants to be. And she says she wants to be great, so she wants to be held to that standard. And that's the best thing that a coach could ask for and want. And now we see that in her every single day she steps into the gym. And again, that's why, when light bulbs go on at different times for players, and I can pretty much pinpoint a year ago, light bulbs went on for her, and she became much more consistent in her work ethic, in her discipline, and in just being accountable to how good she wants to become.
How'd you recruit her? What kind of connection was there, and when was it that you heard of her or got in touch initially?
Well, when we took over the job, June and Mike and the previous staff they'd had Bella on campus, I'm sure 10 times at least. They had been recruiting her. So Washington State had done a tremendous job, from Post Falls, so not far away. They had done a tremendous job of developing a relationship. We weren't sure she was going to like us once we came in the picture, but clearly got her on campus. Her host family, her mom and dad, who she lives with now, and got them on campus and got to know them, and again, just continue to sell Washington State, but a new staff. And we're just really fortunate that she took a chance on us, and and it has been a wild ride for, I guess, 5 years now, but it's been unbelievable to watch her growth.
Thanks so much, Coach. We'll see you over there.
Okay, appreciate it.
You have any more questions for Coach? Please raise your hand. Coach, just one thing I do want to talk about or just ask with this. You have 4 of your 5 starters from your last 2 NCAA tournament games coming in here. I know you talked a little bit before with Colton about the experience of this team, but just kind of more specifically, how much are you leaning on that experience, knowing what to expect, knowing the travel, knowing the media obligations, knowing the everything that goes wrong with the bells and whistles of the NCAA tournament? How much easier is it for this group to prepare kind of the 3rd time around, and not just happy to be there, but trying to kind of just look to advance and try to go far in this tournament?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, because it is true. It does. The routine is different. You get to the gym earlier. You have certain media obligations. You can't get on the floor, but there's just all these routines and things that you have to do, and it's much more structured, and security's tighter. There's just a lot, and more demands, probably more demands. We don't have as much control over our schedule as you do in the NCAA tournament. So it can be overwhelming. It can be new. It can be kind of exhausting for people that, aren't up for it or don't know what's coming. So I do think, again, I think it's just, it's good to have people who have been there and who've done it, who again, it's just like freshmen versus seniors. You know, when you're here as a freshman, your head's spinning for the first year. You just can't catch up. You have no idea how you can get everything done. Everybody has the exact same amount of time in the day, but freshmen they just can't ever get control of it. Well, we got seniors, we've got upperclassmen, so they're pretty chill. Their schedules never get overwhelming. They understand time management better. They understand they don't get emotionally involved in things they can't control as much. And that's really where I just trust our seniors and upper class and the players that have been through this experience 2 years, now going on 3, that they won't get overwhelmed. They won't let emotional baggage come in, or they'll just handle what comes at them, just like they've done all year on the road. They handle what comes at them, they deal with what they have to do, and they keep their eyes on whatever's at hand. And again, trust. I really just trust. It's not like we're asking our players to change. I mean, if I was trying to get them to be something they weren't, I would be panicked right now. But what we're trying to do is keep our players focused and routine, and how they handle scouts, and how we practice, and our day-to-day existence, kind of how we've done it all year on the road. And they've done unbelievable with that. And again, we're going to trust that they're going to keep that focus and do the same thing this weekend.
Jamie Vinnick from CougFan.com could not come in today. He does apologize, and he sends his best and wishes you guys nothing but the best of luck in the NCAA tournament. But he did send in a question that he had that he's writing for an article. It is on Estera Tuhina, AT. And he wants just to know, what's AT's importance been to this season, you know, coming into that role and playing those starters minutes off the bench and kind of really filling in that point guard hole that was left by Crystal Ledger Walker. So how big and important has AT been to this team's success this year?
Yeah, I mean, AT has just, I mean, honestly, AT is our primary ball handler, or between AT and Charlize, our 2 best ball handlers. So it's why she's on the floor a lot. She needs to be on the floor a lot. You need ball handlers, especially against kind of the pressure that you're going to face, you know, all year long in the pack and further along. But we love combo guards. And I think AT is a point guard in her brain, and how she sees the game, and how she controls the game, and how she plays it. But she's also got all the skill sets of she can play any of our guard positions. So she can be the 1, 2, 3. Her IQ is off the charts. Her maturity, you know, she's come in and she's not really played like a freshman. She's played like a kind of a pro, which is what she was. She played in a professional league against grown women, and had to compete against people that have really high IQs and are further along in their careers. And, you know, she's just taken this experience, and it's different, you know, NCAA basketball, the athleticism, the different style of play is different than what she's used to. But because she's so grounded, because she's so mature, because she's so smart, you know, she's been able to adjust her game to fit what we need her to do. And again, competitive, confident, not afraid of big moments, of taking big shots, of having the ball in her hands. Again, great player for us, doesn't play like a freshman, and someone we're going to count on tremendously, you know, in the years to come.
And then another question you had about AT there was kind of had a special moment there right before the Pac-12 championship game, where her aunt traveled from, I believe it was North Carolina, somewhere across the country overnight to come see her in the Pac-12 championship game. And she ended up having a huge, huge game, and that played a big role in the Cougs winning their first Pac-12 championship in program history. How special is a moment like that for your program, and just having connections like that, having people who have strong family ties like that, just really speak to the culture of this team? And how did her aunt a little bit maybe kind of help motivate her to play well in a Pac-12 championship game?
Well, we have a video of when she came down into the lobby and she saw her aunt before. I mean, she saw her across the lobby, and just her reaction, and it was touching. And it just makes you realize, you know, these international kids that we have, you know, they don't get to see their families. Some of them have gone months and months without seeing their family. So to get a surprise like that for AT, I mean, I think first off, she was just so touched and happy that she could have a family member there with her. But it's also touching to our entire team because I think they all felt better because AT had someone there, you know, even though it shows you a little bit about our team, even though they don't have family there, it made them feel good that AT could get someone there. Again, it's another reason why you just really appreciate these internationals and what they're doing and the commitment they make being away from their family. And again, why our team is so close because they know that experience from one another, and they have great bonds within one of our team because they know they got to do it with this group. You know, they can't count on anyone outside. So maybe one of these days we'll get a few more people here and other families that can come, but I was really happy AT could have her aunt there.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. Best of luck this week in Philadelphia. Good luck on your travel. Hope it's a smooth, easy day, and we'll talk to you after the NCAA tournament game. Till then, go Cougs.
Thanks. Go Cougs.